Hello and welcome to this week's Stories Behind the Stories for the April 22nd edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. I'm your host this week, Casper Wehrhahn, writer, photographer, and archivist for the Neepawa Banner Press. And it's been a while, but the big boss, Ken Waddell, is joining me today. So thank you, Ken, for joining me on that.
Good to be here.
Yeah, and now we had sort of some complications last week with the big Easter weekend storm. And that's actually going to be our big topic to start off with here. It started kicking off sort of on Wednesday there, and I actually sent myself home early just because of how the roads were. And then I don't know if you've done this before, but you haven't in my years here so far. Thursday was the first time, but you actually closed the shop on Thursday, didn't you?
Yeah, I was kind of reluctantly, but nobody was going to get there. And even in town, it was tough to get there. And I knew nobody was going to be coming in. And I was maybe going to be the only person there because you were having trouble getting around. And Owen, even in town, he had trouble getting around. So I just said, well, I did come over later in the day and checked for messages. And there were no messages. And there were no footprints on the doorstep. So it was the right decision. But yeah, I think in the 32 years we've been running the paper, I think that is the first time ever that we shut the door and said we're done. And we just locked up on Wednesday night and didn't come back on Thursday. But anyway, yeah, it was quite the storm.
Yeah, certainly. I suppose an odd thing to close the shop for the first time in that period of time due to the weather conditions. And yeah, it was just really tough getting around outside Neepawa, inside Neepawa. Visibility even in town was pretty sketchy there. I couldn't see to the other end of the block that I was on, so I could see maybe like halfway down the one block, and then it was just nothing. It was completely white. And I did manage to move my car a little bit. Glad I didn't try to drive into work though. I was just moving my car for the snow plows there because that was just like, hey, I think they're starting to clear snow, maybe. So if you're able to move your car, that would probably be a good idea. And I was like, well, okay, I don't know how that will go, but I'll try. And, well, try was the key word, Ken. Just going around the half block to go down the back lane, I think I got stuck maybe 3 or 4 times.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was pretty dicey. There was like no traction there whatsoever. It was pretty sketchy.
Yeah, we were fortunate where we lived because late in the winter, obviously not as late in the winter as we are now, we had, they plowed our back lane, the town plowed our back lane. But it was a good thing they did because it was 1.5 foot deep, the snow back there. And if we'd started breaking through that, well, we never would have got out. But no, it was crazy. Like we have, my wife and I are fortunate, we have a person that we hire to clear our snow. And I think they came over 4 times that weekend to stay ahead of it. But yeah, no, if you could stay home that weekend, or that on the Thursday and the Friday for that matter, it was a good thing to do, and really no choice. We were able to go out Sunday to visit family for Easter, and it wasn't great that day either. The road was really, really icy, and coming home was even worse. But I've driven in worse, but I thought it kind of funny though, the coverage of the storm, because it was being billed as going to be the worst blizzard in decades, and when it wasn't exactly the worst blizzard in decades, people were, oh, wow, they overreacted and whatever. How stupid. I mean, they closed the roads ahead of time. Maybe they didn't have to close them as they would maybe other times, but people stayed off the roads for the most part. Like, how many lives did that save? We don't know. But it's a whole lot better to close the roads ahead of the storm or warn people that they're going to be closed ahead of the storm rather than do it halfway through the storm when you've got 50 people. Like the situation there earlier in the winter. And my grandson-in-law was actually one of the tow truck operators on that crash up between Brandon and Verdon, and I think there was 30 vehicles involved, all damaged and piled up in an accident there. Well, if the road had been closed, maybe that wouldn't have happened, So
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody for the authorities for closing the road here or for the predictions they made. Like, be thankful. Be thankful. Stay home, be thankful. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, because like it just really kept coming too. Like it didn't seem to stop until maybe like Sunday it might have been. and yeah, there's just a lot of drifting snow with the wind and whatnot. And that's actually what made our front page here. And we'll have to thank the town of Neepawa for that. But we got a great photo from the town of Neepawa. There's someone just outside the town office there, like chest deep behind a snowdrift there right outside the front office. And I think that was one of the worst ones in the town limits anyway.
Yeah, well, we had our garage faces south just like the town office does in this picture, and we had a cornice, I would call it, of snow come off of our garage, and it extended out about a foot or a foot and a half thick, and it went out 6 feet beyond the eave and just hung there. But the guy clearing our snow had to knock it down. But, here we are on the 21st of April. It's the 22nd issue we're talking about, the 21st of April, and they're talking about more snow tomorrow, and 22nd or 23rd, and I think actually they're predicting more snow for Monday. Like, give me a break. But got good moisture now.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And one thing that's also been getting talked about, of course, with snow, there's snow clearing and all that. And well, it was kind of interesting on Monday morning getting around with all the snow piles there, just with like how high they were, I guess, and how long they were in some spots, because in some spots they sort of went out a little bit into intersections. That did get cleaned up later on, but that was a little bit of something that was talked about as well. I think there's even some frustration a little bit expressed in the office about that. But we put out some calls around town here to the downtown businesses, as well as a message out on our social media, because we were curious, like, does this have an effect on any of the businesses in downtown? Because there's a lot of business in the downtown sector of Neepawa still. I know we have our big businesses, a lot of big businesses, out on the highway, but the core of Neepawa is downtown still. We have a lot of downtown business, and the snowdrifts can make it hard to find parking while it's getting cleaned up. So yeah, we were really curious about how that was impacting things. Unfortunately, we did only get 3 responses, Ken, but they were good responses. 2 of the businesses said that they felt little to no impact, or at least adverse impact on their business. But one person at least from those had concerns just regarding safety with traffic and, close calls that might happen because of how it was set up there. Obviously, it's all cleared out now, so that's not a worry. And then one business in town was actually quite affected by it because their front parking, they have to share that with 2 other businesses, and then their side parking was taken up by the snow. So that wasn't available, and as well, they had a hard time accepting freight.
I went to, just this past Tuesday, which has nothing to do with this paper directly, but I went to the town council meeting because they had their public budget consultation, and I spoke there. One of the topics was the snow removal, and I've lived here in Neepawa for over 50 years now, and I pointed out to the council, in my opinion, that we're doing a poorer job of snow clearing than we did 10 years ago. There was a contractor involved 10 years ago. Not that the contractors now aren't good, but they would work at night, and in the morning most of the snow was gone from the business section, and then they would do the side streets and whatever. And they're not doing that now. Like, they didn't really get going on snow clearing, except for emergency route to the hospital, and they plowed some of the roads to doctors' homes if they were on call. So I'm told, and that was about it until Monday morning. And of course, everybody's coming into work on Monday after the Friday holiday, and it was tough getting around. Like, I mean, whoa, gee, I better not go there. A snowplow is going to back over me, or a loader. But I think that they felt they were doing a good job, and they were doing a good job. But I think it could be done at night. But I think there's some problems there with maybe having to pay overtime, or I don't know. But you would think that the snowplow operators and the loader operators would be a lot happier working at night when there's no traffic, or virtually no traffic, instead of having to dodge around pedestrians and traffic.
Yeah, because you'd have a lot less people moving around. I mean, there might be the odd one out there taking a late night drive, but hopefully not in those conditions, or if you are for some reason, you're being safe about it. But yeah, it would be a lot less hassle, I think, for the cleanup crew to work in those conditions as opposed to daytime when there's people walking and driving places because they need to be somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really see them changing that in the future unless they get someone else. I'm not sure. Or maybe they can scrape some money together, but...
Yeah. Well, I mentioned it to the mayor, I mentioned to the council, I mentioned to the deputy mayor, and the response was, well, you know, it's going to cost more money. Do the taxpayers want to pay more? And I guess that's a good question to put. You know, are you willing to devote more of the budget to the snow clearing than what they're doing now? I know the snow clearing budget for this year is going to be really, really high because January, February, March, and now April, there was lots of snow to move. So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Well, there is one thing, at least, that wasn't impeded by the snowfall, and that's because it concluded before the snowfall. The 52nd Western Manitoba Science Fair went underway here recently, and it was a big one. It was a very big one. There was 203 students participating from 11 different schools, and there was actually a good number of students from both here and Brookdale, mostly Brookdale, that actually placed in that competition. So it was a very successful one. And one key difference here that seemed to be really good for them was that they were able to get back to a modified but in-person edition of this event. Last year it was virtual, and speaking to Robin Foresman there, who is on the committee, the virtual edition, although it did go over well, it was a little bit harder to plan, of course, and there was less people who were able to be involved in that for one reason or another. So this year actually did have a significant or noticeable increase in participation, which is always great to see.
Yeah, I'm sure that the virtual one was okay, but it's sort of not as nice as having the actual be there and visit with other people and actually have people see the displays. Robin Foresman has been a moving force behind this for a while. She was raised here in Neepawa, of course, and but I believe she teaches at Brookdale, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And she's been a really driving force behind this science fair thing for a number of years, and some of her students do very well at it too. So that's kudos to Robin for all the work she does that, and to the students who put on the displays. It's always interesting to see the different approaches they come up with for different problems.
Yeah, all the different projects there. I mean, of course, there isn't space in this sort of thing to write out a lot of examples of what they did, but yeah, there was a lot of entries that could be seen there, and you know, I was intrigued just looking at some of the titles, honestly. So I'm glad that the kids were able to participate in this and, you know, just be there with the judges, because it's a lot easier for the judges as well to interact with the students and get them thinking and, you know, take their thinking to the next level, as Robin said. And, you know, as well, Robin's really hoping that more schools will get involved in this, because maybe they don't know that's something that goes on, or maybe some kids want to get involved but their school isn't partaking in this, and there's still ways that they can enter in and participate in that.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Excellent project.
Absolutely. Another thing here that I'm sure will catch some people's eyes and provide some entertainment. Less so on the science side, but definitely something to maybe give you a laugh or make you go, wow. The Great Benjamin Circus is going to be coming to Neepawa again. It's been quite some time since it's been here, and that story is on page 2. Short little story, but gives you all the essential details. And it will be on May 14th there will be a show at 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. They're 90 minutes each. And I'm excited to see what they'll bring, because
Yeah,
I
it's
know
about-
the one year I went to cover it, it was quite fascinating.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 years since they've been here.
Okay.
I think, yeah. And it's going to be at the Yellowhead Center. I emailed them to one of the organizers, and they said they've had a tough couple of years. They're looking forward to being back on the road again and having some crowds come to the circus. I hope they do well. And going to be up at the Yellowhead Center. Hopefully the lot will be dry by then, because it's been known over the years to be a little soupy sometimes. But yeah, it's on the as you say, it's on the 14th with 2 shows. So yeah,
Yeah.
and they've got some special ticket pricing too, I think, advertised there. So there's some deals there for people to look into. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it's certainly been a while. I think the last time they were here, they sort of coincided with I think the Neepawa Fair,
might have
potentially.
been. Can't remember.
Yeah, I recall there was like rides and food stuff going on.
No,
so
that'd be the fair. That'd be the midway.
Okay.
That'd be the midway.
the midway.
With the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round and all that stuff. This is a different show.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't remember where they had it the last time. It might have been the fairgrounds. Can't remember where it was. But anyway, it was here in Neepawa. But I think it's 5 years since it was here. But
Yeah,
it's
must
been a
have
while.
Yeah, very good show. Very good show. Now, if for some reason the circus doesn't catch your eye, maybe something a little bit older will. There is going to be an antique show. However, it is postponed. That is unfortunate. That story is on page 14 here. This is something that Neepawa Tourism has been planning for a while. And it was going to be actually this weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
But just with the weather conditions last weekend and with the forecast that is expected to be this weekend, whether that's snow or rain, we don't really know yet. Darren Cameron and the team felt that it was just in the best interest to maybe set that aside for now and wait until better conditions present themselves, and it can hopefully have a better launch.
Yeah, they're going to have it this year. This is the first year for the tourism group to do this. It's been done in the past. There's been an antique show with the Margaret Lawrence Home it was held here for years and years and years. But this time, instead of the hall, they're going to be in the arena, I believe. So that's a big venue. Easier to get in because you can drive your vehicle right in, unload to your booth, and then park your vehicle. But they are, as I say, going to use the Yellowhead Arena, which is a great venue for a show as long as the heat's on.
Yeah.
Mind you, by then they might not need the heat. But certainly would need the heat this weekend.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be in there without the heat for sure. So yeah, hopefully we'll hear a date on that. There is no set date right now. They're still working that out, but hopefully when they know, we'll know, and hopefully we'll get some advertising. Nudge, nudge. I'm not saying, but I'm saying we would certainly appreciate it. We do what we can to cover everything here, and of course with that we need our ads. So we would definitely love to have some more advertising going on there. But I won't nag you for any longer.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, Ken will.
I will. Actually, a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I had an opportunity to be at the Minnedosa Chamber of Commerce. And I encouraged the group there to support their local paper, the Minnedosa Tribune. And I said I'd be happy to take their ads too, because we cover a lot of area in Minnedosa and its surrounding districts as well. And I said the same kind of speech last night. We were at a meeting here in Neepawa where there was about 20 different groups, and they were planning, how to not have conflicting dates and this sort of thing for various events. And in essence, what I said to them is you have to understand that newspapers have to have advertising. Facebook is good, but I feel that the newspapers are still the root, the core of a community and advertising. But I'll just tell you one sentence, really, and that is in the past 4 years in Manitoba, we have lost 20 newspapers. All but 2 of them were corporately owned. There were 2 privately owned ones, but the corporately owned ones, basically, they turned the key on the last night, and they walked away. And corporations tend, not all, but the corporations tend to run the newspapers into the ground, bleed every last dollar out of them they can by cutting staff, selling equipment, selling buildings and whatever, and then walk away. And 20 communities have lost a newspaper, either their main newspaper or their second newspaper, in the last 4 years. And that's just not good. But it's because some people have turned away from advertising in the newspapers, and we have to have ads. We simply have to have ads. And similarly, NAC TV, on which you're viewing this program right now, they need advertising too. And I was just at an event, community event this afternoon, and a lady who was there from Oakville, Manitoba, and that's 70 miles from here. And she says, I watch this show all the time. Kudos to you guys for how good a job you've been doing with that. And they watch the town council, plus other things that we have here on NAC TV. NAC TV needs donations and advertising as well in order to keep going. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Somebody 70 miles away, not a lot to do with this community, but they enjoyed watching the videos of the viewing on television that they have from here.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear that sort of thing, and awesome really to see that people from that far away are willing to come out because they've seen something in the paper or on NAC TV. And I know I've read similar things in the past in the archives, like people coming from other countries, for example, just to come here for something, and maybe visiting some other people as well. But the fact that they made such a significant journey, whether it be 70 miles or as far as another country, it's incredible. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how far people have come over the years and still do. But I had a friend who's passed away now, but he played ball in a ball tournament here in 1950, and there was 5,000 people attended the ball tournament. That was probably twice the population of Neepawa at that day and age. But 5,000 people came to a ball tournament, weekend ball tournament in Neepawa. And there's stories like that throughout the archives of the Neepawa Press and some in the Neepawa Banner. But people travel a long way and always have. And if the entertainment venue is correct, they'll come. So.
Yeah, couldn't say it better myself. And speaking of sports, that's honestly a great lead into our next topic here. This may not be ball, but there are congratulations in order. The Yellowhead Chiefs, all players born in 2012, won the AAA Hockey Challenge. Now, I admit I didn't have enough time to refresh myself on all the details here, but they did play a good few games there. They had a perfect score at the round robin. There was a 4-0 there. And on another one of the games, there's 6-5 in their favor over the Manitoba Force. So very well played games, and that last one very close, just 1 point. So congratulations to all those players and that team as well. And we have a lot to get into, but Ken, is there anything you wanted to say on the Yellowhead Chiefs?
Well, yeah, it's a great group, 10-year-olds. I mean, I've seen some of these youngsters play hockey, and boy, they take it seriously. And these are the players that are going to go on to the next level and may play junior here. They may play for the Titans someday. They may play further on than that. Might go to college or university and play hockey there. So great to see them come together like that. And thanks to the coaches and families for doing that. You just see the picture. They're so happy, these kids. Just so happy. But we have the curling group, the Tarek team is going to, Friday night, I think there's going to be a send-off for them too here. They're going on to the U18 Nationals. So another youth group there as well, ready to take on the world from this area. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing all these people, especially at such young ages, succeed in something they're very passionate about. And you can see the passion, as you said, Ken, in that photo. They're all really excited and happy about that win in the Yellowhead Chiefs photo. And then, of course, the Team Tarek photo as well. The biggest smiles on their faces there. Like, they are absolutely absolutely pleased, and I am for them as well. It's really cool seeing these people succeed in that, and I wish them luck in their endeavors, of course. And someone else we should be wishing luck on in their endeavors is Hannah Funk, actually, from Arden. She is committing to Dakota College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. 2 sports, hockey and softball.
Yeah, that's pretty big commitment. I
Yeah.
mean, in my time skimming through the sports thing, I think that's the first time during my time here that I've seen something like that.
Yeah, it's unusual for an athlete to major in 2 different sports at the college level, and I've known this family for over 50 years. Let me think now. Her great grandfather was a ball coach. I think he was I think it'd be great grandfather, and there's a combination of the Funks and the McGormans from Arden, and the tremendous sports history there, and community-minded people have been now for generations there. So good to see it being carried on to the next generation.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, Dakota College, wow. So congratulations again, Hannah Funk, and good luck on both your softball and your hockey. Like, that's going to be, I think that'll be a fun challenge for you. Obviously, I don't know you personally, but I can see from this story here, you've got a lot of determination, so I think you'll do great. I think we have a quick second here, so I'd just like to shout out the fact that we do have another Everything for Your Farm spread in the center spread here. We have all of those businesses that have supported us through that, and we certainly appreciate it, especially because with past conditions and whatnot, it's been hard on the egg industry, so not everybody is quite able as they were before to help support us on that with like Farmers Advocate and whatnot, but we greatly appreciate that. As well, there's some new prospects for the Neepawa Titans and some year-end player awards as well, so definitely check that out on page 10. And of course, a new recipe from Helen Drysdale, a couple there actually, you get 2 this week, Watkins applesauce cake and gluten-free honey applesauce cake. Both sound really delicious, I must say so, Ken.
Do you know what Watkins is?
I've heard of it, but I don't quite know.
Watkins is obviously a wide range of food products, but they used to be, can't see the sign, there we go, 2 minutes, there we go. They used to be sold by door-to-door salesmen. They'd travel around the country with their products and drop them off, take their orders from the housewives and farm families, town families, whatever. I think they actually had the products in the car, and if they didn't, well, they'd make sure they had them the next trip. There was Watkins and Raleigh's. There was 2 that went all through the country selling spices and vanilla and pepper and all this kind of stuff. So that's going back in history. Still buy Watkins and Raleigh's products today, but that's how they used to sell them, was door to door.
Well, yeah, that's how it was done back then. You don't really see that these days, and I'm not sure how that would be received these days, to be honest. People
nobody home.
Nobody home. They're all busy. And then, of course, well, typically if someone you don't know is at the door, you're like,
yeah,
I won't bother. Definitely very different environments here. And then, of course, on looking back, we have the BPWC had celebrated their 14th birthday in 1962, and a whole bunch of other stories on there. And, so much more that we couldn't cover on this episode. And, that's just the nature of the beast. We have a full paper, and we can't get to it all because there's lots happening around Neepawa, in Neepawa, places further outside of Neepawa. We have a big coverage area, so be sure to pick up a hard copy of the paper. I'm pretty sure we're getting close here, so we'll start wrapping it up. So this is a good time to mention that if you have any story leads, stories you want to submit, photos you want to submit, photo opportunities that you want to give us just a shout out for, let us know that it's going on. Letter to the editor, thumbs up, thumbs down, send that on to news@neepawabanner.com. or give us a call at 204-476-3401. As well, again, advertising, ads at neepawabanner.com, or that phone number, once again, that very same one. And we look forward to seeing you next week.